Jealousy activates the same pain circuits in your brain as a broken bone. It was designed to protect you, an ancient alarm hardwired into human biology. But in roughly 1 in 4 people, that alarm never shuts off. It distorts perception, fuels obsession, and quietly dismantles trust before anyone sees the damage. The question is not why you feel it. It is what happens when it starts thinking for you. Jealousy is often confused with envy, but psychologists draw a sharp line between the two. Jealousy is the fear of losing something you value, usually a relationship, to a rival. Envy, on the other hand, is wanting what someone else already has. In real life, these emotions can look similar, but their roots are different. Imagine Maya, who feels a quick stab of jealousy when she sees Alex laughing with someone new. She is not wishing for that person's qualities, she is worried about her own connection slipping away. David Buss, a leading evolutionary psychologist, argues that jealousy evolved as a built-in security system. For our ancestors, losing a partner could mean losing resources, protection, or the chance to pass on genes. Jealousy acted like an alarm, alerting people to threats and pushing them to guard their relationships. This is not just theory. Cross-cultural studies find that about 25% of adults report strong, sometimes overwhelming jealousy each year. The triggers are not random. For men, sexual infidelity tends to spark the sharpest response. For women, it is emotional betrayal. These patterns show up in every society studied, hinting at deep evolutionary wiring. Jealousy's original purpose was survival, not sabotage. But the same alarm that once protected bonds can now spiral out of control. Some people barely notice it, while others feel it as an ever-present tension. The difference often comes down to how sensitive someone's internal alarm is, and what sets it off. Long before jealousy stirs in adult relationships, its roots are quietly planted in early childhood. John Bowlby's attachment theory, later expanded by Mary Ainsworth, revealed that the first years of life shape how sensitive a person becomes to threats of losing closeness. In the strange situation experiments, infants as young as 12 months reacted when their caregiver's attention shifted to a stranger or even a doll. Securely attached babies protested briefly, then settled down when comforted. Anxious infants, in contrast, showed lingering distress and clung tightly, watching every move. These early patterns do not fade with age. They echo into adolescence and adulthood. Long-term studies have followed children from infancy to adulthood, finding that those with secure beginnings are less likely to experience overwhelming jealousy later on. In one follow-up, infants classified as disorganized were 3 times more likely to struggle with chronic jealousy in their adult relationships. Another study tracked children assessed for attachment at age 1 and found that those with secure bonds reported lower jealousy as teens and young adults, regardless of gender or family income. The way parents handle rivalry and affection leaves a lasting mark. When children are labeled as competitors for love or see resources divided unevenly, the jealousy alarm is set louder. These early experiences teach some to trust in connection, while others grow up on high alert, scanning for signs of rejection. The intensity of jealousy, then, is not just a quirk of personality or fate. It is a reflection of the attachment blueprint carried forward from the very start. Jealousy doesn't just live in the mind, it floods the body. When someone feels threatened by a rival, the brain's alarm system lights up. The amygdala, best known for its role in fear, scans for social threats and sends out a warning. At the same time, the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, reacts to the pain of possible rejection. Naomi Eisenberger's landmark study at UCLA showed that social pain, like being left out, activates the ACC in much the same way as physical pain. It's not just a metaphor. The brain treats the risk of losing someone as a real injury. But the story doesn't end with the brain. Hormones surge through the bloodstream, shifting how jealousy feels and how hard it hits. Oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, can actually soften jealous feelings by dampening threat signals in the brain. Vasopressin, on the other hand, does the opposite, heightening vigilance and making people more sensitive to social rivals. Testosterone amplifies the drive to compete, while cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes during episodes of jealousy, fueling anxiety and even physical discomfort. Together, these brain regions and hormones make jealousy feel urgent, sometimes overwhelming. They explain why a jealous thought can trigger a racing heart, sweaty palms, and a sense of panic that's hard to reason away. The biological machinery was designed to protect important bonds, but it can also set the stage for jealousy to spiral out of control, especially when the mind can't find a way to turn off the alarm. Maya's unease starts with a glance, a flash of Alex's phone lighting up with a message from a coworker. It could be nothing, but her mind won't let it go. She replays the moment, searching for signs she missed, convinced there's a hidden meaning behind Alex's casual smile. Each time Alex laughs at a text, Maya's imagination fills in the blanks, spinning stories about betrayal. Psychologist Susan Nolan Hoeksema found that people prone to rumination, like Maya, get caught in mental loops that make jealousy stronger and harder to shake. Instead of asking Alex directly, Maya tries to read his mind, certain he's hiding something. Every silence feels suspicious. She starts checking his social media, looking for clues, and finds herself scrolling through old photos and comments late into the night. The more she looks, the more convinced she becomes that her fears are justified, a classic confirmation bias. When Alex mentions staying late for a work project, Maya can't hold back. She demands to see his messages, crossing a line for the first time. What began as a single uneasy thought has become a pattern of suspicion and control, with trust now hanging by a thread. The world outside the relationship can pour fuel on the fire of jealousy, turning private doubts into public anxieties. Social media, in particular, has changed the game. In 2009, a study by Muis and colleagues found couples who monitored each other's online activity scored much higher on jealousy scales, a correlation coefficient of 0.31, strong enough to catch researchers' attention. Scrolling through a partner's likes, comments, and new followers does not just reveal information, it creates a constant sense of competition and threat. The boundaries between curiosity and surveillance blur. Nearly 1 in 3 adults now admit to checking a partner's social media without permission, and digital monitoring predicts not just suspicion, but real-world arguments and breakups. The workplace adds another layer. Competition for promotions, praise, or just attention from a boss can spill over into home life. In one survey of over 1,000 dual-career couples, those who saw their partner's coworker as a status rival reported significantly higher jealousy, about a third stronger, according to Miller and Johnson's 2021 data. Even a simple mention of a new project partner can trigger unease. For example, Maya finds herself glancing at Alex's work calendar, wondering about late meetings and calls after hours. Research shows that status threats at work do not just create stress, they can quietly amplify jealousy, especially when power, visibility, or praise are at stake. In these environments, jealousy stops being a private feeling and becomes a public pressure, shaped by algorithms, office politics, and the ever-present possibility of comparison. Certain warning signs signal when jealousy is no longer just a passing feeling, but has started to become toxic. Clinicians group these red flags into 5 main categories. First, surveillance behaviors, checking a partner's phone, emails, or social media without consent, or demanding access to passwords. Second, controlling actions, setting rules about who a partner can see, where they can go, or what they can wear. Third, emotional symptoms that won't let up, persistent anxiety, insomnia, or a racing mind that fixates on imagined threats. Fourth, withdrawal from friends or activities because of fear or suspicion, slowly shrinking the world to just the relationship. Fifth, escalation to threats or ultimatums, such as, if you don't show me your messages, we're done. In Maya's story, her late-night social media checks and demand to see Alex's messages fit 2 of these categories. Each warning sign alone might seem minor, but together they form a pattern that puts trust, safety, and even well-being at risk. Recognizing these signs early can make the difference between a relationship that recovers and one that slips into cycles of control or harm. Unchecked jealousy now fuels everything from online harassment to fractured workplaces. As our lives grow more connected and more visible, the line between normal emotion and corrosive mistrust blurs. Recognizing that line isn't just self-awareness, it is survival. The cost of ignoring it grows with every relationship, every scroll, every day.